Hey guys, I'm so glad to have you with us for another session in the series Fight, as we're learning to win the battles that matter most. We're looking at a guy that, unfortunately, like so many of us men, he had so much potential, and yet he messed up in so many ways. Samson. Let me just give you a little backstory, some of the stuff we've covered so far. This was a guy that had a supernatural calling from God and was set apart with supernatural strength to defeat the Philistines. This guy was an incredibly strong man. Just like so many of us, though, he had a dangerously weak will. Our key thought for this study is this. It's a problem that so many of us as men deal with, and that is that we are emotion-driven, not spirit-led. For those of you that are Christian men, we should be led by the Spirit, but instead we're emotion-driven. Now, let's be honest, guys, we don't like to think of ourselves as emotional, right? Women are emotional, we're not. The reality is we're all emotional. The difference is that women, when they're emotional, what do? They talk, okay? And talk. And talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Men, we tend to act, generally speaking, and I know this isn't always true, but generally speaking, women, they talk. Men tend to act. For example, everything with women is relational, right? Everything's relational. If a girl's going to go to the bathroom, she invites all of her friends. Hey, and they all get up and they all go to the bathroom, and they're gone for an hour, and they come back and they're all smiling. You never have a guy say to his buddies, hey, you want to go to the bathroom with me? You just don't do that. And if you do, you don't trust them. And you can talk to another guy in the bathroom, you just don't look at him. You just don't make eye contact. You just look at the wall. You do that, you're out in the bathroom, man. Right? Girls, they talk. If they're upset, come over and cry on my sofa and let's drink some tea, okay? I've never had a dude ever say, come over to my house, let's drink some tea and talk, okay? It's just a different thing. The problem is, though, is that our emotions can get us in trouble. In fact, gentlemen, how many of you have ever done something stupid because you let your emotions get the best of you? I had a car full of three probably teenage guys flip me off while I was driving three of my children. And at the moment it happened, I forgot I was a pastor, Christian, a grown-up, a civil man, and, the whole thing. And something in me just snapped. I'm like, it's on, boys. And I'm not proud of it, but with my three kids in the car, I started in a pursuit of these three guys who flipped me off. They're still giving me the bird, peel the banana, all this stuff. And in my mind, I'm looking at them, kind of trying to size them up. I'm thinking they're high school, they're probably untrained. And in my mind, I'm thinking, honestly, I'm thinking I can take them. Well, we got going a while, and my daughter's like, oh, Daddy, what are you doing? Stop. My son's like, get him, Dad. And finally, reason took over, and I asked myself, how could this end? Which is A, I catch them and beat them up, and that's a news story. B, I catch them, they beat me up. It's an embarrassing news story. C, I get a ticket. But it was D that got me, and that is one of my kids could actually tell Amy what I was doing. And so I just said, keep this to us, and it's ice cream for everybody, and we're out of this deal. But I'm not proud to tell you that, but for a moment, something snapped in me, and I'm just like anybody else. No, you can't flip me off. We're getting this thing on, because I was emotion-driven, not spirit-led. And the problem is, so often, men, this gets us in trouble when we know what's right, but we do what we feel like doing rather than what's right. In other words, at the end of the day, you should engage with your kids, but you're tired. And so your emotions say, veg out and do nothing but watch TV. You know what's right, but your emotions lead you to do something else. Or you know the right thing to do, but you get angry and you say something stupid and you do something stupid because your emotions get the best of you. Or you don't want to blow up, but you do. You lose it because you're emotion-driven, not spirit-led. And Scripture speaks directly to this in Galatians 5:16 and 17, when Paul said, so I say to do what, men? He said, so I say to live by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the sinful nature. In other words, if you're spirit-led, you're not going to do stupid things. He says, for the sinful nature desires what's contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the sinful nature. They're in conflict with each other. So what happens, guys? So you do not do what you want. And this is where we find our warrior, Samson, losing very important battles because he was emotion-driven, not spirit-led. Let me tell you the story. If you remember, he met the Philistine woman. He wants to marry her. And so before the wedding, he's hanging out with 30 Philistine dudes. Now, that's the enemy. He's hanging out with 30 guys that don't like his people, and he decides to make a little bet. Because everybody knows when you get 31 guys around, somebody's got to be betting on something, right? And he says, hey, let me give you a little bet, okay? If the winner gets 30 pieces of linen and 30 sets of clothes, which is a really stupid bet, because if he loses, he's got to come up with 30. If the other guys lose, they just come up with one each. And so already we see Samson being stupid. He said, I'm going to tell you a little riddle, and I'm going to give you 7 days to figure it out. Again, that's stupid. Give him 7 minutes, Samson, but he gives him 7 days. Now, what did he kill? Who remembers what he killed? He killed a lion. What did he eat? He ate a handful of honey. And so that right there gives you a clue to the answer to his riddle. He says in Judges 14:14, he says, out of the eater, what do you think that is? That's the lion. Something to eat. What is that? That's the honey. Out of the strong is something sweet. What is it? He says. And the Bible says for 3 days they could not give him an answer. So the Philistines got ticked. They went to the woman who's about to be his wife, and they said, trick him into getting the information to you. You tell us, or we will burn you and we'll burn your family. And so the Philistine woman does what women do well. When they want something, she cried. Oh, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. And you see the story right here, Judges 14:18. Before sunset on the 7th day, the men in town said to him, what is sweeter than honey? They got the answer out of the woman. What is stronger than a lion? They got the answer out of the woman. Samson said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved my riddle. Now, there's a lot to learn in that verse. Lesson number 1, men. Never let another man plow your woman. And number 2, don't ever call her a heifer. Samson says, if you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved the riddle. And we're going to watch as his emotions do what our emotions so often do to us, cause us to fight the wrong battles and end up taking strong men down. Men, we've got a couple of emotions that by the power of God, we've got to learn to fight and to defeat. The first one is our burning anger. We have to fight that anger that rises up unrighteously so often inside of us. It's not a sin to be angry, it's a sin to act on your anger in the wrong way, and this is exactly what Samson does. Judges 14:19 and 20. Samson then, he's ticked off. These 30 guys got him. So he goes down to Ashkelon, and the Bible says he struck down 30 of their men. So he goes and kills, he uses the strength God gave him and kills 30 innocent men, strips them of their belonging, and gives their clothes to those who had explained the riddle. Burning with anger, he went up to his father's house, and Samson's wife was given to the friend who had attended him at his wedding. Now, you may be scratching your head going, what is that? Well, here's what we know. Samson got mad, and he went out on a killing spree. And we don't know how long he was gone. But it wouldn't be uncommon at this time for the bride's father to say, the dude left that was supposed to marry her, I'm now giving her to someone else. And that's exactly what the father did. And Samson was so furious that he then went and got 150 pair of foxes, tied their tails together, stuck torches in them, lit it on fire, and set these foxes free in the fields to destroy the Philistine harvest. He lets his anger burn within him, and suddenly he is attacking ferociously the Philistines. So his enemies find out what he did, and guess what they do? They come back and kill the girl and kill her family. Kill the girl and burn her father to death. What happened? Samson's anger not only cost him, but it cost those that he loved. In the very same way, gentlemen, when we allow our anger to rise up out of control in unrighteous actions, that our anger can cause us to hurt not just ourselves, but to hurt the people that we love the most. The problem is, for many of us, anger is a default emotion. Okay? When we get embarrassed, what happens? We get angry. I don't want to be embarrassed. When we get our feelings, we get angry. For many of us, it's a default emotion. You take a woman, and she's walking along, and she kicks a chair. Boom! Hurts her toe. What does she do? She's smart enough to sit down in the chair and go, oh, my poor toe. Okay? Guys, what happens to us? We kick the chair. Accidentally, what do? You stupid chair! Bah! Kick it with the other toe. This stupid chair. Who put the chair there? Because for so many of us, anger is a default emotion. I want you to ask yourself this. What did Samson have to be angry about? Think about this. What was he angry about? He's the guy that went into Philistine territory. He's the guy that picked the girl he wasn't supposed to pick. He's the guy who decided to marry the girl that he was forbidden to marry. He's the guy that taunted the Philistines with a riddle. He's the guy who named the price of the bet. He's the only one who knew the secret to his riddle. He gave the secret away. He left his bride at the altar, and he's angry at the world when in reality, it's almost all his own fault. And how often do we see men, otherwise with great potential, let the emotion of anger, often even directed at themselves, as they take it out on the rest of the world, let that emotion gone wild take strong men down. I've seen it all the time, and you have too. It's a guy who's angry at the world, mad at his boss, hate this stupid job, stupid. When in reality, he's mad that he didn't finish college and he's doing a job that he thinks is beneath him. He's mad at himself, he's taking it out on somebody else. It's the guy who's mad at his wife because she won't meet my need and she won't give me any physical attention, and I'm a man, I need something, and he hasn't met her emotional needs in months and months and months. It's the guy who's mad at God. Life stinks, it's not fair, why do I have to go through this? When the reality is the guy's made unwise decisions, has betrayed the teaching of God's word over and over and over again, and wonder why life is all a mess. It's the guy who lets anger burn to the point of unrighteous actions. If that's you, I want to challenge you to own it. Just to own it. To acknowledge honestly that my anger leads me to do things that are unwise and contrary to God's plan. Because that's been me so many times in my life. So many times in my life. And I don't want anger to take me down. The second thing we have to fight against, first we have to fight against anger. The second thing is we have to fight against personal pride. And watch as Samson slips into pride. Verse 15 and 16. Here's what he does. He's mad. He's angry. He goes down, the Bible says, finding a fresh jawbone of a donkey. Okay? This is his weapon. He grabbed it and struck down. Are you ready for this? 1,000 men. The strength of God, and he kills 1,000 men. Verse 16. Then Samson said, watch the pride. With a donkey's jawbone, I have made donkeys of them. With a donkey's jawbone, I have killed 1,000 men. Now, just for the record, so you'll know, when he says, I've made a donkey of them, again, The Bible translators are being polite. What the literal word is, there's another word for donkey, and that's what he's saying. He's being cocky. I made a crooked letter out of them. That's what he's saying. He said, they came unto me, and I showed them. Look what I did. And his pride got him in trouble, okay? Why is it that we often battle with pride, men? Because pride is born out of our insecurities. The more insecure we are, the more we try to compensate with pride. Look what I've done. Look what I've done. Look what I can do. We want to prove ourselves. We don't want help. But pride, we know, comes before a fall. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So all of a sudden, we see Samson, and he's in big trouble. He's killed 1,000 men. He is public enemy number one. All of a sudden, he thinks, okay, they're going to kill me, or I'm out here and I'm going to die of thirst. I've got no hope. I've messed up too big. I am in big, big trouble. Men, there may come a time in your life when you realize, I'm in trouble. My emotions have driven me to do things I shouldn't have done. I was emotion-driven, not spirit-led. What do you do one day when you realize I'm in need? I'm in bad shape. Here's what you do. If you let your need drive you to God, God will meet your deepest need. Man, this is some of the best news that you could ever hear. If you let your need drive you to God, God will meet your deepest need. Watch this in verse 18 and the beginning of verse 19. Because he was very thirsty, he cried out to the Lord, you have given your servant this great victory. Suddenly it's not I, but now it's you. God, I acknowledge, it wasn't me, this is you. You have given your servant this great victory. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised? In other words, God, have mercy on me. Verse 19. Then God opened up the hollow place in Lehi, and water came out of it. The Bible says when Samson drank, what happened? Men, help me out. When Samson drank, his strength returned, and what else? And he revived. When he allowed his greatest need to drive him to God, God met his greatest need. And suddenly, his strength returned, and he was revived. Men, there are some of you, God has called you and given you the heart of the warrior. And you've lost some battles, and you've done some stupid things, and you don't know where to go or what to do. The good news is, if you will humble yourself and say, I need him. God, I need your grace. When you do, he will give you strength, and you will be revived. Because Satan loves to make strong men weak, but our good God loves to make weak men strong.